it's time to sit back and relax with your favorite drink. And listen. I'm an undercover FBI agent on the deep web by BeardedVeteran. My name's Special Agent Barry Allen. Not my real name, of course. It's actually my code name, given to me by my colleagues. You may recognize the name from the comic book character The Flash. I was given this name due to my quickness to obtain IP addresses, bypass firewalls, and hack into certain deep websites and shut them down. Well, this is my area of expertise. However, I've also been assigned to a joint task force before, which tracked and arrested drug runners, firearms dealers, and human trafficking rings. Believe it or not, the federal government is everywhere. Social media, Reddit, YouTube, you name it. We have our guys on it. We monitor everything. Well, that being said, the FBI only has jurisdiction to operate within the borders of the United States. In this new digital age we find ourselves living in, cybercrime is much more of a direct threat, now more than ever. Yes, in the past, we feared as a nation biological and chemical warfare. As an example, right after 9/11, the United States had an anthrax attack. In the FBI, it was known as Amerithrax. Letters were mailed containing anthrax spores to several news media offices and to Democratic senators Tom Daschle and Patrick Leahy, killing 5 people and infecting 17 others. Once the victim opened the letters, they'd immediately be exposed to the spores. Inhaling them is the most deadly form of the attacks, and it quickly destroys your immune and respiratory systems. Back then, there were no known cures, and it was difficult to treat as the symptoms oftentimes confused doctors. The death rate once exposed was nearly 95%. No one was ever officially arrested or tried as the primary suspect for this horrific crime. If you ask me, though, the scariest part of this investigation is where it led us. To a lab on an army base. Essentially, the US Army was weaponizing anthrax using independent scientists specializing in microbiological warfare. Of course, though, if you wanted to bring down Western civilization today, all you'd have to do is manipulate or destroy our satellites, and we'd be back in the Dark Ages. Computers, banks, grocery stores and cell phones, power plants, even the water filtration system runs with electronics and the ability to communicate with satellites. Essentially, our world now depends on this. It's scary to think about, especially when 14-year-olds are hacking into the largest banks in the world from their mother's basement. Somehow they're able to bypass the best security systems we know of. Well, I personally believe they're using password skimmers. We joke in my department that in order to work for us, you simply only need to be smarter than a teenager. My background is in IT while in the military. While serving, I also obtained several certifications and degrees in my field. I worked alongside someone I never thought I would. Turns out the federal government oftentimes hires former hackers to consult for them. In fact, they have an army of internet soldiers at their disposal. I was actually trained by a convicted felon, and it's been said he's one of the best hackers in the world. Eventually, I was put in contact with men in the FBI, and essentially went through a series of rigorous tests to determine my operating field of work. After seeing our skills, they then placed myself and the felon on the Cyber Anti-Terrorism Unit, or CAT as we call it. Our first assignment was to locate a man on the deep web known only as Captain Death. He runs this anonymous site in which the viewers would donate Bitcoin to watch unspeakable acts of torture, mutilation and murder, oftentimes called Red Rooms. After searching for a while, clicking on every single link given to us, we found the exact link which directed us to the host site. We visited the website. For a moment, the page was completely black, so we waited a few moments, and suddenly a bright red-colored text appeared across the top of the screen. Welcome to the House of Pain. Tonight's events will commence in 2 minutes. Enjoy. Looking over to my colleague, Jeff begins penetrating the site's security systems, attempting to find the IP address of the host location. viewing the site still with my eyes locked onto the screen, and using my laptop separate from Jeff's. Suddenly the monitor goes black, and then a video attempts to load, buffering now for several minutes. Any luck, Jeff? I ask. I'm searching for a weakness in the security firewall. Give me a minute, he responds. Frustrated, I say, we may not have a minute. Using access control, Jeff's able to find and manipulate the user's login information, bringing down the video before it begins. Believe it or not, one of the weakest points to a website can oftentimes be its login feature. Jeff had found a vulnerability in the source code software, and he exploited it. Still haven't found the guy, though, as that process is much more difficult. For now, we can rest a little bit easier, though, knowing his account is compromised. The best hack is when you can invade a security system and not ever be noticed. But this was not one of those instances. "Who are you?" appears on Jeff's computer screen. He responds quickly. "The Dark Knight," in bold green text as he looks over the offender's account, attempting to track down banking information, any recent transactions, even Bitcoin exchange. Searching over the vast amount of data pouring into the site, it seems they have gone through great lengths to keep themselves hidden from the public. The identity of the perp is still unknown. Patting Jeff on the shoulder, I thank him for saving my eyes from witnessing God only knows what. I suppose for now it's a small victory. "Hey, let's take a break, Jeff," I urge. Shutting down our laptops, we exit the dark cold room we'd sat in with monitors, computers, servers, and many other electronic components all around us. One thing to remember, heat is the enemy of electronics, and for some strange reason, we enjoy freezing our asses off while hacking. Walking outside, Jeff lights up a cigarette and takes a drag. Putting on his sunglasses, he asks, "Want one?" No thanks, they really break my concentration. Don't seem to function too well with that in my system, I reply. Well, he scoffs and quietly whispers, "Amateur," while choking and coughing. I smile and look up. "Yeah, well, at least I can still breathe," I say, laughing, with a smile forming on my face. We begin walking to a nearby restaurant. My phone lights up and rings loudly. It's my supervisor. "Go for Barry," I speak confidently. My boss is breathing heavily into the phone and says sternly, "What's the news on Captain Death?" I begin to inform him on our progress and our struggles. "Keep me posted, Barry. Good work," he says. I'm not telling him Jeff did most of the work, and I do feel bad for taking credit for this one. Reaching the doors of the bar and grill, I notice a man sitting in the corner of the restaurant with his family. Jumping back quickly while peering around the corner, Jeff gives me a strange look as I inform him that the man is a fugitive from an earlier investigation. I call for backup and sit back in our unmarked unit, waiting for the cavalry to arrive as he is armed and extremely dangerous. 15 minutes pass as backup swarms the parking lot. We exit the vehicle and surround the building. Rushing in, 12 men strong, guns drawn, we make the arrest. Unfortunately, he did not resist. No civilians were harmed on the takedown. This man had been on the run for months, moving from state to state. I had previously set up a sting operation to illegally buy stolen guns from the man, which had been arranged through the deep web. However, this particular sting was an in-person arms deal. He appeared very spooked and got away from us before the transaction was made. After searching his panel van today, we found an entire armory of weapons. A few days pass. We now have a search warrant issued by the judge for his last known address, confiscating all his computers, hard drives, and weapons. Then my partner and I found a hidden room below the living room floorboards with $1.4 million in it. It also had passports and other documents. He was ready to flee the country for sure. So why he was out in public was beyond me, though oftentimes men like him feel like they are untouchable and above the law. Several weeks later, work has been slow. Not sure if that's good or bad. Until today, that is. I begin chatting on forums and meeting interesting characters in chat rooms. both on the clear net and the deep web. Today I meet a dark, shadowy figure online. He claims to have worked with a group of hackers who specialize in debt and credit card theft online. While playing the part, I ask in a private chat, "Hey, how much does this pay?" Moments pass with no answer. I sit and wait for a response. A message appears with a link and a phone number. "Contact him for a trial run. If you do well, he'll set you up with further work," he writes. Well, I'm thinking for a moment, finally an adversary worth hunting. Typing quickly, I say, "Who is he? Do you know him personally?" He responds rapidly and the text box closes after he writes, "Rule number 1, no names." Fortunately, I was able to copy the link and phone number before my computer screen went completely blank. Reaching for the burner phone I had recently acquired, I began dialing the number provided. It rings several times. No answer. So I check out the link I copied. Right before I click on it, my phone lights up and rings beside me, forcing me to jump out of my seat. Startled, I look at the cell phone. Mildly confused as it reads, "Unknown number." Quickly I answer the phone. A man on the other end speaks. "How did you find this number?" he asks. I inform him I was searching online for a while. "I'm new and I'm looking for work." "Hey, I was told you're the man to call if I wanted some action. Look, I need the money," I implore. "Competition is next week. Meet at this address. Winner gets a spot on my team. If you think you're up to the test, be on time," he demands. I thank him and abruptly hang up. Jeff comes over to my place. He has some info on low-level guys in the fraudulent stolen debit card scheme. Using an unmarked and totally not suspicious surveillance van, we follow a few men on their day-to-day operations. For the most part, this portion of our job is the worst. Very daunting and boring. Sitting and waiting isn't exactly as glamorous as the movies depict it to be. From what we can tell so far, these men are using credit card skimmers. Victims of credit card skimming are completely blindsided by the theft. They notice fraudulent charges on their accounts or money withdrawn from their accounts, but their credit and debit cards never left their possession. How did the theft happen? Well, you may be wondering, what exactly is this? Credit card skimming is a type of credit card theft where crooks use a small device to steal credit card information in an otherwise legitimate credit or debit card transaction. When a card is swiped through a skimmer, the device captures and stores all the details stored in the card's magnetic stripe. The stripe contains the credit card number and expiration date and the credit card holder's full name. Thieves use the stolen data to make fraudulent charges either online or with a counterfeit credit card. These men have been using these small devices all over the local area and surrounding states as well, targeting the nicer areas of town, attaching the devices to the ATMs, sitting a short distance away in their cars watching each victim approaching, laughing all the way to the bank, so to speak. After several days of stakeouts, our team makes the arrests, finding blank cards, machines, and large sums of cash on hand. After hours of interrogations, we learn much bigger schemes in the works. The men inform us that they were merely a distraction for a much larger crime. My supervisor gives us clearance to make a deal with them, lessening their charges if they're willing to cooperate. Speaking with the man for more than 3 hours, we learn what's really going on. The next few days were extremely tense as our officers try to warn all the banks and even get the media involved. Calling every bank, big and small, we alert them of the situation that cybercriminals are poised to carry out an ATM cash-out, an operation that gives thieves access to untold sums of money by bypassing security measures on an ATM. If successful, the operation has the potential to be a heist unlike any we've ever seen. Now, the FBI has obtained unspecified reporting indicating cybercriminals are planning to conduct a global automated teller machine cash-out scheme in the coming days, likely associated with an unknown card issuer breach and commonly referred to as an unlimited operation. These unlimited operations compromise financial institutions or payment processors by installing malware that allows hackers to exploit network access, allowing access at admin level. Once inside, they can disable fraud protection, raise maximum ATM withdrawal amounts and transaction limits, and withdraw large sums of money, millions potentially. All they'll need to carry out the attack are debit and credit card numbers found on the dark web, and dummy cards, also known as blanks, to attach the numbers to. These cybercriminals typically create fraudulent copies of legitimate cards by sending stolen card data to co-conspirators who imprint the data on reusable magnetic strip cards, such as gift cards purchased at retail stores. At a predetermined time, the co-conspirators withdraw account funds from ATMs using these cards. Now it's nearly a week later, and I'm preparing for my tests. I have my laptop ready in its case. I'm extremely nervous. The information given to me is that I am to meet at this very strange building on the outskirts of town. I have no idea what to expect. I must come in first place to become a member of the team and ultimately take down the leader of this cybercrime domestic terrorist. If things go according to plan, he could potentially put the entire country on its knees, and our banking systems would completely collapse. Chaos and madness will spread like wildfires. Millions of people unable to access their money will riot and destroy stores, stealing food and everything they can get their hands on. The police will be overrun and unable to do anything about it. The military would almost certainly be called in an attempt to regain order, and mass hysteria ensues, to extremes we've never seen before. So, I must stop him, before it's too late. The day has come. I just received the call I've long been avoiding. It's time. The competition for top-tier hackers are meeting at this building, which I'd believed to have been abandoned. We're in the surveillance van, heading towards our destination. Equipment's all packed up. I'm wearing a wire on my chest. Hopefully they don't pat me down upon entry. Jeff is driving recklessly, as he has a bad habit of being late. We're testing the audio in the back of the van. Well, generally this is done days before an operation. However, we're rather short on time. Not pointing my fingers at anyone in particular. Leaving the city limits, we now enter a heavily wooded area. There's only one way in. The road's turning into rubble, and small rocks are shooting from our tires. Lights have faded behind us as we venture further into the forest. Jeff's now using high beams, and we noticed it's grown quiet. Other than hearing the tires on the gravel of the road, there seems to be less and less wildlife in the area. I get this feeling like we're being watched. Checking my cell phone, I see we've lost all signal. This is a trap, I thought. Our other equipment seems to work just fine. I can begin to see dim lights in the distance. We must be nearing the competition now. Hey, you ready for this? Jeff asks while blowing smoke out of the window. I start to swat the backdraft of smoke billowing back into me. Yeah, I'm ready. Hey, you should really consider cutting back on those smokes, I utter. Just then a pack of Marlboros is hurled back in my direction. Hey, we're here, Barry. Make sure you have everything, Jeff commands. Yeah, I'm all set, I reply. Jeff stops the van on the gravel. Exiting the vehicle, I grab my backpack while adjusting my clothes. I found some regular glasses with regular lenses in them, so I'll look the part. Walking towards the building, I speak quietly into my chest microphone. Testing. Test chest mic. How do you read me? I ask. Jeff's growly voice comes into my earpiece. Loud and clear. Good luck, he responds. One thing I notice right away as my feet kick up against the rocks on the ground is that there's only one other vehicle other than ours. A large bus. Slightly confused, I look in every direction while also investigating this bus. Seems as though it's empty. Well, later I'd learn everyone else met up at a different location and they all took the bus to get here. Reaching the suspicious looking building, I reach for the door handle. As the door opens with little force, loud music hits me, as well as bright flashing lights. What the hell? Walking around, I find what I was looking for in a back room. "Y'all late. Take a seat," a well-dressed man says. Seeing that there's one empty seat left, I grab my laptop from the bag. Booting it up and joining their local area network, the connection's established. Strange software automatically downloads on my laptop. The man who greeted me walks over to examine my screen. "We will wait until this participant's ready," he tells everyone else. Minutes pass and the program has finished installing. What's on my screen is a DoD login showing the username and password empty fields. "Okay, everyone. Your first task will be to crack the code and gain entry into this system. You have 10 minutes to access the servers and find the login information. The first 10 people who accomplish this task will advance to the next round. Good luck. Your time starts now," he explained. A voice comes over my earpiece once more. "Okay, Barry. I'm linked up with your laptop. I can see everything you see. I'll now control everything remotely." "How do you read?" Jeff says quietly. "I hear you. I'll let you take over from here," I reply. My colleague begins typing away like mad. It's been said he can type up to 153 words a minute. Looking at my screen, the computer is changing rapidly, each window appearing with different streams of code. Almost like you'd see in the movie The Matrix, which I suppose is a foreign language to most people. It can seem overwhelming at times, and normally I'd be doing this. But Jeff is far better and faster than I, so it's not worth the risk. This task is far too important. There's too much at stake here. As he continues going in through the firewall, more boxes open and close all over the screen. Well, I appear as if I am typing away, as there's a man walking around watching each potential hacker perform their duties. Not sure if it's the leader of this anonymous group. He's in a dark suit, and all I can see is the flashes of light from each monitor. Or maybe it's just my paranoia, but I feel like he keeps shooting me these awfully suspicious looks. Come on, I have to stay focused. Come on, Barry, you need this. Concentrate. Keep your head in the game. I can't lose myself in the moment. Oh, wait a minute. I just now remembered. I'm not even in control of my machine. Well, Jeff, I sure as hell hope you know what you're doing. Oh, Barry, you do know I just heard everything you just said, right? Now shut the hell up and let me work. We only have 4 minutes left, Jeff urges. Well then, hurry up, you lung cancer having prick. I'm dying in here. It must be 90 degrees, I whisper. Just then, access granted appears on my screen. The login information has been hacked. Instantly I jump up as if I just won bingo. Yep, I'm in, I yell loudly to the man. He nods and another man comes over to confirm the legitimacy of my claim. After confirmation is given a few moments later, myself and several others are ushered to another room not first seen when you enter the building. First, we're taken down a flight of unkempt stairs, creaking and groaning with every step. Feeling as if it could go out at any moment, our group reaches the bottom of the stairs and are now on a platform. A mechanical whirring is heard as we are now being lowered even further underground. Where the hell are we going? One man asks in fear. Silence, fool, says the man in a nice dark suit. Finally, the platform stops, and I'd approximate we're at least 80 feet underground now. A long dark hallway is before us, lit dimly by low-hanging lights, which never seem to end as far as we can see. Walking for several minutes, I no longer hear my associate in my earpiece, so I remove it quickly before anyone notices. There's a musty smell that's disturbed me since we first came down here. It grows stronger the closer we get to the direction we're headed. I'm the last one in line, ahead only of what I assume is a hired goon. Stopping for a moment, I'm pushed forward on my upper back near my shoulders. God, I swear if I wasn't trying to save the world right now, I just take out my service pistol and blow this cocksucker away. I'm sure no one would miss him. We reach a large old wooden door with absolutely no handle or markings of any kind. The leader pushes up against the wall near the door, and it opens slowly. Everyone pours in single file. There's a large wooden table with chairs almost like a conference room. "Take your seats, please," the leader addresses. "You're all probably wondering what the hell we're doing down here. Well, you're here for a job, and also I didn't want any interference of any kind. Just in case the government is watching us. Well, there's no way they could possibly hear what's being said this far underground," he explains. "Congratulations to each of you that has moved on to the next round. You 10 have been chosen to advance to the next stage in the competition. This following task will include various stages of difficulty. You will be chosen at random by a computer, so it's completely fair. Each of you are to hack into some of the world's largest banks and bring down their servers. Please come back to this location. Your names have been taken down and we shall contact you if anything changes. I expect to see all of you back with us, same time next week, 6 days from now. Well, that's all for now. Thank you." The leader finishes and leaves the room first. Each man is muttering and chatting loudly. I can hear only bits and pieces as everyone is talking so loudly. Minutes pass and we're escorted out of the building, and everyone begins walking towards the bus. But I veer towards my van, and am stopped by the same man who pushed me earlier. "Just where the hell do you think you're going?" he asks. "Oh, I didn't get the meetup spot. I had to drive here," I respond, while swatting away his hand from my shoulder. The man reaches into his pocket, pulling out a card. "Be at this location and be on time, or we'll find someone else," the man urges. I snatch the card and stuff it into my wallet. Reaching the van, I hop in and drive away. "What the hell happened in there?" Jeff demands. I begin informing him of everything that took place and explain the situation. He nods and tells me, "Good work." Wait a minute. This doesn't look right. Jeff looks at me puzzled. Something is off. I don't remember any of this. Now there's a fork in the road. Is this the way we came? I thought I remembered it only being a one-way in and one-way out. "Hey, you went off the gravel road. Move over, let me drive," Jeff says. "Hey, sorry man, I'm a hacker, not a tracker. Let's just get the hell out of here. I'm more lost than Atlantis." About an hour passes and Jeff somehow gets us out of the woods and back to the main road. We head back towards my house, but suddenly he makes a detour. Screw this man, after all that, I need a damn drink. "You down?" Jeff asks. "Well, in the words of my father, if you have time to think, you have time to drink," I utter proudly. Then again, Dad was a major alcoholic, so perhaps that's bad advice. "Well, all right then," Jeff says as he floors the gas pedal. Roughly 20 minutes later, we arrive at his favorite bar where he immediately opens up a tab. I'm worried as I've heard he drinks like a fish. Not to mention we're both armed in a bar. Yeah, that's illegal, but screw you, I'm an FBI agent. Remember folks, laws are made to be broken, otherwise I'd be out of a job. Oh, crap. I think I've lost my colleague. I begin walking around the establishment and am stunned to see this gorgeous blonde woman cross my path. We strike up a conversation and I soon forget about Jeff. He's a grown man, I'm sure he'll be fine. She asks what I do for work, and of course I lie. You never know when you need to run a background check on someone. Besides, telling the whole world you're an undercover FBI agent isn't exactly the best idea. Or so the Bureau instructed us. We continued chatting for a while and eventually part ways, as it had begun to get late into the night. We exchange numbers and she leaves gracefully. I walk outside to see the van still parked in the same spot. A bit puzzled, I go over to inspect the van, thinking maybe he just passed out in the front seat. I arrive at the driver's side door and open it to find all our equipment gone, and Jeff is nowhere to be found. Freaking out, I run back into the bar, searching all over, even behind the bar next to the register. The bathrooms are empty and it's closing time. I have no idea where he went. Did he leave with someone? Or was he abducted, possibly? Well, either way, I'm completely dead if my supervisor finds out about this. I have to find him and the equipment. And who the hell was that girl? Could she have something to do with this? I need answers. Oh no, I just realized my laptop is also missing. God, if that information gets in the wrong hands, it could have catastrophic consequences. Well, it's a very, very warm welcome back to Bearded Veteran. I was reading a lot of his stories, 2-3 years ago. It's been a long time, I have to say. So it's really nice to get back to his unique style of storytelling. Always lots of adventure and things going on in these stories, so really is a pleasure to be back reading them again. As you can probably tell, there's more to that one, I hope. It's quite a while since he wrote those 2 first episodes, so let's see if I can coax him back into continuing this story. Well, that's enough for this evening, my dear friends. Of course, there being a podcast tomorrow evening over on my second channel, and I'll be back here on Friday. Until then, my dear friends, very, very sweet dreams. Bye-bye. Thank you so much for taking the time to listen to this story today. Really means a lot to me and to the author of the story, of course. Well, if you want to know more about me, I'm pretty much everywhere on social media. You can find me on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram. You can download my music on SoundCloud. I've got a Patreon if you feel like. Throw me $1 or $2. Very much appreciated. And of course, on Reddit, I have a place where you can leave stories if you want me to read one that you've written. Well, hoping to see you all again very soon. Till then, sweet dreams. Bye-bye.